Redba here, we're back with an IndyCar review of the Indy 500. Indy 500 was the 107th edition, held a few weeks ago, so we got a lot to unpack. A huge crowd of over 300,000 people were attending race day. We had a clean green flag start. Alex Palou is able to grab the early lead in the first few laps. During the first few laps, Alex Palou and Rinus VeeKay were exchanging first and second place during the race. Lap 27, Scott Dixon comes into the pits. He was complaining of vibration, so he was in the pits early. Several laps later, Catherine Legg damages her car and in the pits, and she's actually out of the race on lap 58. It was a very hot day at the track. At this point in the day, it was about 102 degrees Fahrenheit track temperature. On lap 63, Scott Dixon comes back in for a regular scheduled pit stop. He's complaining the vibration is gone. Also, Will Power comes in on lap 69 for a pit stop. We have green flag racing for several laps up until lap 92, where Stingray Robb gets into the wall at turn 1. Stingray Robb got close to Graham Rahal, and then he started to check up, got into the dirty side of the track, into the marbles, and that caused him to crash into the wall at turn 1. This was the first major caution of the race. The race actually did not continue till about lap 100, so everybody came into the pits before then for changes to their car. Then we have an interesting incident on pit road. Rinus VeeKay spins and crashes his car into Alex Palou, pushes Alex Palou's car into the pit wall. Not heavy damage, but he's given a drive-through penalty for this incident later in the race. Lap 100, we get back to green flag racing, and look at this. I wanted to take a note. 4 wide at Indy. This is some great racing we've been seeing in IndyCar this year. Super competitive. Felix Rosenqvist was having the early lead after lap 100, and Pato O'Ward was in second. Pato O'Ward was able to grab first place on lap 114. By lap 123, Rosenqvist was back in first place with Pato O'Ward back in second place. We got a round of pit stops at around lap 130. On 133, there was a lot of cars coming in for a green flag pit stop, changing of tires and fuel. And one thing that won't change, we won't stop providing racing videos from the racing world, from IndyCar, MotoGP, and Formula 1. So please like and subscribe. After these round of pit stops, Marcus Ericsson is in first place, Josef Newgarden in second place, and Felix Rosenqvist was in third place. And we had quite a few laps of green flag racing. We have quite a few laps of green flag racing up until about the 150 lap. This is when Romain Grosjean crashes really hard into the wall at turn 2. Romain Grosjean is having the worst year so far in IndyCar. Every race, I think this year he's actually crashed or DNF'd somehow. So many teams come into the pits now to take advantage of the yellow flag, and then we get back to green flag racing at about lap 155. Scott Ericsson is in the lead, but eventually he gets passed by Josef Newgarden for first place. Also, Santino Ferrucci is right behind him in third, and he's able to take the lead with about 41 laps to go. Santino is able to hold the lead until he gets into the pits. Will Power also pits around this time. He actually hits the wall, but there is no yellow flag. We have an interesting incident here. A tire gets loose, but Santino Ferrucci's outside tire changer is able to grab it and control it. He's not given a penalty because the tire changer was able to control the tire before it got too wild outside the pit lane. Santino Ferrucci did have a slow pit stop there. Other teams are coming into the pits also at this time. We almost got out of race day without the big crash, but then it happened.
Son of a bitch, I knew it!
How did you know?
We didn't, but Felix Rosenqvist crashes into the wall at turn 1, and he loses control due to his bent suspension and steering. And then he clips Cal Kirkwood, who ends up upside down, and the left rear wheel actually goes over the catch fence. Luckily, it doesn't hit anyone. A tire flying at that speed could have caused immense damage. There's a still shot of the tire in the air. Luckily, no one was hit. It hit a car in the parking lot. There's a slow motion. You see, he just clips the car and the tire just goes airborne. So lucky no one was hurt. Also, so luckily Kirkwood wasn't seriously hurt when he was upside down. Our hearts were in our throat, waiting to see if Kirkwood was going to be okay. Kirkwood was complaining about pain in his knees. Luckily, that seems to be some of the only pain he was having. With the nature of the crash, thankfully, that was really the only pain that we heard of. Thankfully, Kirkwood was okay, Rosenqvist was okay, none of the spectators were damaged with the flying tire. We got to give it to also the safety people at the track, the stewards, and the emergency personnel.
Is he going to be all right?
It seemed he'll be okay. And they were on the scene right away to help Kirkwood. They lifted up the car. We got to give it to the safety personnel. This was such a scary crash, but we were able to get the race actually going after only a few laps, but also this is the car that was damaged in the parking lot from the flying tire, and luckily the person who owns the car was not in the car or any of their friends or family. The race was red flagged. There was no racing at this time as there was going to be a major cleanup needed on the track, so this took quite a while. They had to clean up, remove the cars, also clean up the debris. There was a lengthy delay with this cleanup. This took quite a while, and we weren't back to green flag racing for a minute. And then we eventually got back to green flag racing with 8 to go. As you see, there was a lot of movement in the back here, and we have Newgarden in first place, but this doesn't last too long as Pato O'Ward clips Marcus Ericsson and heads into the wall. This was not Marcus Ericsson's fault. We watched a replay many times, and Pato O'Ward was trying to fit into a space that there wasn't much room. Then Agustin Canapino spins out trying to avoid a wreck, and he actually slams into the back of Pato O'Ward.
I can't catch a break.
Imagine, you just crashed, and now you're a sitting duck. Thankfully, Pato O'Ward wasn't seriously injured, and Canapino also, but this was just a crazy incident. Canapino didn't have any brakes, and this is why he slammed into the back of Pato O'Ward. We're back to another red flag for the day while they clean up and make sure all the drivers are okay. So everybody comes into the pits. This is another red flag, and after the cleanup, we get back to green flag racing. They're going to try to go green flag racing with 5 laps to go. And with 5 laps to go, people were getting aggressive, especially at the back. We had Josef Newgarden in first, Marcus Ericsson in second, and Santino Ferrucci in third. And we don't even get through the first lap where we already have yellow flag caution. Near the back, it was Carpenter, Rahal, Christian Lundgaard, Marco Andretti, and Benjamin Pedersen. Benjamin Pedersen brought out the caution flag, and we had to wait. Then the bosses at Indycar were deciding, were they going to end the race on a red flag, which would make Marcus Ericsson the winner? Or were they going to go back out and finish the race under a white-green checkered flag, or like how NASCAR does overtime? So they decided, let's go and finish the race how racing is intended. So let's go. We have Ericsson in the lead, and he has a chance to win. This is on the final lap, but Josef Newgarden takes the lead from him, and Josef Newgarden is able to hold on to the lead and win the 107th Indy 500 Grand Prix. This was a great way to end the race. Josef Newgarden was able to hold on to the lead. He had to really defend his position against Marcus Ericsson. Marcus Ericsson was charging hard to the end of the race. This was a great way to end the day. I'm glad that IndyCar decided to actually race the end of the race instead of just ending on the red flag, which would have gave Marcus Ericsson the win. But do we want the race to end like that? No, we don't. We're race fans here. So as he stops on the world famous bricks, Josef Newgarden comes out of the car and he does something that you don't always see. Yes, we usually see drivers climb the fence, but he wanted to make sure you knew that he was the people's champ. He came into the crowd and he wanted to celebrate with the people, with the actual fans. That's something that the fans definitely enjoyed, and here he is climbing the fence. Got to give it to Newgarden and his Team Penske. Now, also, Pato O'Ward might have been able to win this race, but when he clapped Marcus Ericsson near the end of the race, that was the end of his day. Newgarden was fast most of the day. Marcus Ericsson was also fast, and Rosenqvist, who was in an earlier crash, was very fast during the day. But it belonged to Josef Newgarden. This is his first Indy 500 win. This is the race, iconic race. Every race car driver wants to win this race, or at least also race at the Indy circuit. So congrats to him and Team Penske Chevrolet. If we're going to rate this race, we're going to give it about an 8.5 out of 10. It was a really good race, especially after the first 100 laps. There was a little controversy. They thought that with Penske owning the track, Penske owning the series, that maybe some people thought it should have ended on the red flag, which we don't agree with. Let the boys race to finish the race. There was 3 laps left, so there was nothing wrong with them finishing the race. This review's a little late, but we're also having the Detroit review out this week, and more racing videos on the way. The Canadian Grand Prix in Formula 1 this weekend, also MotoGP is in Germany, so look out for more racing videos for us on the channel. With the Canadian Grand Prix being our home race, we're going to have a lot of special footage this weekend about Formula 1, and also we're going to be doing IndyCar and MotoGP, so I hope you enjoyed the race review because the racing season is heating up. Red Bet, signing off.